everyone. I thought I would record this video just to make sure that everyone has all the information they need to complete the last assignment, which of course is this one here, the Prezi social cause assignment. So by now you should have already chosen your topic. And the next steps I had already outlined in a previous video, so I won't go over them in great detail, but I will just kind of review the mechanics of how to do these steps in Prezi. So again, just to give you an overview, you're going to make a Prezi presentation, in Prezi about a social cause, something that you feel passionately that others should know about. And it will contain 3 parts: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. And each one of those parts has a couple of frames each, or a couple of topics. I'll show you what that is in a second. And again, this follows the same basic pattern as most essays would, most other speeches, presentations, most things follow this pattern. And the total number of frames or topics should be between 6 and 10. Less than 6, I think you could probably add a few more, and more than 10, you're probably going a little bit too deeper than you should. So keep it between 6 and 10. Don't forget that you shouldn't use copyrighted material, and cite your sources. That's always important. And everything you put in your presentation should fit or be appropriate. So that means deleting things. If you're using a template, that means deleting things that are already there that you don't need. And of course, anything you add should help you get across what you want to get across in your topic. So the first thing I'm going to review is how to log in and get into Prezi. Again, www.prezi.com will get you into Prezi. You click the login button, and you don't need to enter anything here. I've already entered an account this way, so it's going to by default put my email and my password in. But all you guys need to do is click on this box here that says log in with Google. Okay, so you log in with Google. It may ask you to choose your account, as it is with me. Select the Collectio Lumen account, which is the one that you should have used to join Prezi initially. And if it asks you for your Collectio Lumen password, you can always type that in. And after you do that, you should see all of the Prezis that you've done, which may not be any if you haven't started yet, but if you have started, the one that you're working on should appear here as well. So in my case, I'm going to pretend that I haven't done anything. I'm going to click the first one, which is Create from Template. And the easiest way to get started is to go right on the left-hand side here, where you see the different categories, to click Education and Nonprofit, and then to select one that you think you could use to start with. Really what you're looking for at this point are colors and different things that you think may help you get across your message. Don't forget that we're going to be adding our own background image, so it really doesn't matter what the background images are, because again, you're going to be changing it and inserting your own. In my case, I'm going to select this one as my template, and I have to click the button here that says use this template, and I have to type in the presentation title. So again, it should be something appropriate, such as COVID-19 treatments. You're doing your topic on that, right? And for the question, who can see this presentation, you should answer anyone on the web. If you don't do that, then it will say that you need to pay, you need to subscribe, which of course we don't need to do. So anyone on the web is fine. Then we click continue. And once it loads in, this is the page we use to edit our Prezi presentation. So you'll notice right at the beginning that we have 3 tabs here: Style, Insert, and Share. We're going to be using those in order to create our Prezi presentation. So the first thing we need to do is add our background, and you can see that it's already giving us the chance to do that. It's already giving us the opportunity here on the left to add our background. If by accident we click that, we can always get back to it by pressing the Style tab and by choosing Background, right? If we choose Background, then this box on the right should open up again. And what we need to do is find the image that we downloaded already and insert it into our presentation as a background. And we do that by clicking the Upload Image button, finding our background, and pressing the Open button. And you'll notice that Prezi is now inserting our new background. And there it is. Now the first thing I'd like to do is make a title. So I can do that by clicking on this text box and typing in title of my presentation, which in this case is Treatments for COVID-19. Now if I highlight my text by triple clicking on it, I can change the size by going to the top here and clicking on the A+. And that makes my text bigger. If it's a little bit too big, I can press the A- to make it smaller. I can also change the font, which in this case I don't think I will because I kind of like it as it is. But you are of course welcome to choose a different font. Again, keep it something that you think fits with your presentation, not just something that you think looks good. It does have to fit. So in this case, it's kind of a scientific presentation on the treatments of COVID. So I will keep it as it is because this looks like a scientific font. And you don't need to do anything here. This is really just allowing you to choose preset font styles, but I'm going to keep it at title. And I also want to keep it at bold because I do want it to stand out. I want it to be big. So having it bold lets me do that. And I'm not going to make it in italics. I may change the color to black because I do want it to stand out against the background. And I'm going to increase the size of this by dragging on the right border of the text box so that it all fits in the same line like that. Then I will click on the middle of the text box and drag my title up to the top, roughly in the middle. And I can use the guides that appear. Prezi automatically puts in guides to help you put things in the middle where you might want them. So this is in the middle and then at the top, which is exactly where I want it. If you find that your title doesn't stand out against your background, you can always change the color of the text box background. So I can, for instance, make it kind of a reddish color and then fade out the opacity so that it's more transparent, but it makes my text stand out. You don't have to do that, but if you like it, if it helps your text to pop, you can do that. And you can always change the corner radius here if you want it to kind of look a little bit less blocky, something like that. Now that I've got the title the way I want it, I'm going to drag these topics so that they look a little bit better, so that they're easier to read and that they're not blocking anything I have in the background image. And as I mentioned, this should have 3 parts: an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. So I'm actually going to delete one of these. And I'm going to move the other one, the last one, in the middle so it looks a little bit more balanced and centralized. Something like that. And again, if you want to delete something that you don't like, you simply press the delete key on your keyboard after you select it. And if you find you've made a mistake and you accidentally deleted something you don't want to delete, you can either press this button up here that says undo, or you can press Control Z if you have a PC, or Command Z on your keyboard if you have a Mac, and it will undo the last action that you did. And after you've rearranged these, you'll notice too that there's an exactly the same number of topics here as in your presentation. And the first thing you need to do is change the title on these topics by clicking on the text box of the title and changing the name of it to whatever you'd like. So you may be tempted to actually type in introduction, body, and conclusion. I would avoid doing that because usually the audience should know based on what you've written, whether it's the introduction, body, or conclusion. Usually you would write something a bit more descriptive, such as, in this case, different treatments. And again, you should move it so that it fits within the shape, and you can use the guides to help you centralize it. Again, you can make the text boxes bigger or smaller to make sure that your text fits. Or you could even change the size of your text if you're finding that it's too big. And once you have the titles saying what you want them to say, then you can actually go to the left-hand side and zoom in on the topics themselves and add your content. And you can make changes as you see fit. Again, you don't have to use the things that are there. If you find, for instance, that this text you're not using, simply press the delete key and delete it. But in my case, I think I'll keep it, move these around so they're a little bit more centralized. And I can start editing my subtopics. And again, if your text is too big, simply decrease the size. And you can go in and actually add your content. Now, this is where you should have already done your research. And don't forget, you should pull information from various sites. It shouldn't just be from one site. But after you have your information, you can add it in simply by going to this Insert tab on the top, where the big plus button is. Click on Text, if it's text that you want to add, and simply type in your text. And if you want to add pictures, you can do that by pressing the Insert button and selecting Image. And you'll have to upload the image in the same way that you uploaded the background image. And you can resize it and put it where you want to put it. And please don't forget to add the source of your image in your presentation, which you can do by copying and pasting where you got the image from. Again, by adding a text box and pasting your link. And in this case, I'm going to make this all on one line and fairly small because I don't want it to stand out. I just want to give credit where credit is due. I don't necessarily want it to be dominating my presentation. And you might want to say image source at the beginning. Something like that. And the same thing should be done really for the background image, which I forgot to show you. And you can move back to the front page by clicking on this arrow right here. And this is why it's important to keep track of where you're getting your information from, because it makes it a lot easier to give credit when you've done that. And again, make it as small as you need to so that people can still see it, but it doesn't stand out as much as your other things. And the bottom is a good place to put it. And the last thing I need to show you is how to add a video and the way we do that is by finding the video in YouTube, because it does have to be a YouTube video. That's the only kind that the free version allows. And again, you have to get the address to the video. And the easiest way to do that is to go to the share button down here underneath the title of the video, click it, and copy the link to this video. And then we can paste it in our Prezi presentation after we click the Insert tab again. click video, and paste it right here under where it says embed YouTube. And we do that by pressing Control V if you have a PC, or Command V if you have a Mac. Or you can always right-click it, and say paste. Same thing. Then click Insert and move it around to where you want it. Make it the size that you want it. And I would highly encourage everyone to have a few examples of multimedia in your presentation, because that's really the advantage of Prezi. It's a visual medium, and it's good to take advantage of all of the visual aspects that Prezi allows by using pictures and videos. And after you're finished and you're satisfied with your entire presentation, again, having an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, and at least 6 to 10 topics, as outlined in this instruction sheet, then you can submit your Prezi by clicking on the Share tab at the top here, clicking View Link. You'll have to click Create New Link, enter my name, click Create Link at the bottom. You'll have to click the arrow again, copy this link that you've just created. Then you can go to the assignment, which should be under Prezi in your classwork. And click on the big plus that says Add or Create as usual. Click on Link, which is the second selection, and paste your link. Okay, so you should have a link that appears in your work, and it should start with Prezi. Make sure that it looks correct. And once you've done that, click Turn In as usual. And you're done. So I hope this helps. Have fun with it, be creative, and we'll see you next class. Bye for now.